Bonjour. Hello. Welcome to my channel. I bet you're wondering, Sheena, I know you don't speak French. What do you think you're doing saying hello in French? Well, I'm here to tell you that I am making French macarons today. So that is why I greeted you in very, very poor French. I'm super excited, albeit mostly nervous about making these. I know macarons can be pretty difficult and kind of tricky to do, but I've been doing a little bit of research and watching some like tutorials and how-to videos and following, you know, along with like step-by-step instructions and like picture instructions and everything on how to do it so that they turn out okay. And I'm hoping that these turn out okay. Either way, they'll be delicious and tasty, I'm sure, but you know, we want them to look nice too, so. Okay, so macarons. The primary difference between a macaron and a macaroon is that macaroons are made with coconut and macarons are made with almond flour. So yeah, so whenever someone says, oh, I want a macaroon, and you know they're talking about the little, you know, sandwich cookie things, you should be like, hey, that's wrong. Those are macarons. I also have no idea if I'm completely butchering how to say that. I just, you know, I watch a lot of baking shows, like the Great British Baking Show and that sort of stuff, and they say macarons, and it could just be because of their accent, but you know, I figured it was macaron because there's only one O and not two. So anywho, okay, so to get started, we're going to be sifting our dry ingredients together. And for that, we need 1 cup of powdered sugar. We need a ½ cup of ground almond flour. It calls for finely ground, but since we're sifting it, it should get any of the excess like almond chunks out of it. So, you know, work with what you have. And this recipe is kind of special because they are going to be chocolate macarons with a chocolate ganache filling. So chocolate on chocolate, my personal favorite. But I know when you add extra things to your macaron batter, and this is strictly based on what I've read, not from experience, I've never made macarons before, but I know when you add extra ingredients like chocolate, like cocoa powder, it's kind of acidic, and it can sort of make your batter temperamental, and it may not necessarily rise and create the little feet that we want. But anywho's, yeah, so we're gonna try it, you know. If they don't turn out, they don't turn out, but I'm hoping hoping they do. But the recipe that I found, you know, it seems like she experimented a lot with different recipes and different methods, and this one worked for her, so hopefully it'll work for me too. So we need 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. Alright, so we're just gonna sift this together into a bowl and get out any of the large chunks in the almond powdered sugar and cocoa powder. Alright, all sifted. Alright, we're just gonna set that aside while we work on our meringue. You know, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I've gotten pretty good at making meringues. And watch as I say that, like I'm royally going to screw this up. Oh golly. So I have 2 eggs that I've kept at room temperature for about an hour or so. They're not completely warm, but they're not completely cold. And to separate our egg whites from the yolks, unfortunately, you can't, well, but I didn't really have a use for 2 extra egg yolks, so I had to dispose of them. But, you know, if you're gonna make like a custard or something, you know, and wanted to save them, you could. Unfortunately, I'm not anytime soon, and they would probably most likely go bad before I got the chance to use them. So I had to toss those. Okay, so there's no shell, no egg yolk, or any extra ness in our egg whites. So we're going to put these into a clean, dry, ungreased bowl. And we're just gonna add a pinch of cream of tartar to the egg whites to help them stabilize. I'm gonna whip this together until they're frothy, about a minute or so. Okay, so now that it's nice and frothy, we're going to add 5 tablespoons of sugar gradually until we get stiff peaks. Nice, stiff, glossy peaks. Okay, so now we're going to add our dry ingredients into our meringue mixture. We're going to do this in 2 batches. Okay, and we're going to fold it in with a rubber spatula. So the consistency that we're looking for is smooth without being runny, but we need to be able to make like a figure 8. Like you want it to be like a ribbon stage, and then when you hold your spatula and like move it in a figure 8, it'll hold its shape. That's just what I've read. Don't shoot the messenger if I'm doing this wrong. Oh my gosh. See, like this is still too thick. I just need to keep mixing. Okay, so our batter is ready. So you see how it's like nice and smooth, and when you plop it down, you can make a sort of figure 8 with it, and it'll hold its shape, which is good. That's what we want. Gosh, I really hope this is right. All right, so I don't have piping bags, but I do have freezer bags. So we're going to put the mixture into our bag. So we're going to pipe these out into perfect little squares. Not squares, circles. Perfect little circles. Oh golly. So I have 2 baking sheets lined with parchment paper. I'm going to snip the end off of my bag here. We're just going to pipe out 1-inch circles, and we're going to space them 1 inch apart. Okay, so after we've piped them all out, we're going to tap them on the counter and we're going to let these set out for about 45 minutes to an hour until the tops are no longer glossy, and when you touch them you don't have anything like sticking to your fingers. Stay tuned. Okay, so the macarons have been setting out at room temperature for about 35, 40-ish minutes. The tops, I don't know if you can tell, but they've gone sort of matte. I know I've got lights shining so they look still like, but they've gone matte and they are like, they have like a film over top of them now, which means that they've like set up. So now we're gonna put these into the oven. I had it come up to 350 degrees, and I'm gonna reduce the temperature down to 325. I'm gonna put these in the oven and bake them for 12 minutes. After they're done baking, I'm gonna pull them out and let them cool on the trays for about 15-ish minutes. And then put them onto a cooling rack and let them cool completely. When they're cooling, we will make the ganache to fill them with. So it's gonna be great. All right, it is ganache time. It's ganache time. So basically, super easy. Lola! Golly, she's the worst. This is super easy to do. I have 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate here. I used 2 ounces of like baker's chocolate that I had left over from way back when. And now, Lola, come on. Every wooden surface in this house has cat scratches on it, and it's all her fault. Yeah, so I had like 2 ounces of baker's chocolate left over, and then to it I added a 1/3 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Chocolate chips are not really ideal for like making ganache or anything like that because they have extra like stuff added into them that you know, it just makes them not that great for melting, but it's what I had. Okay, I heated 1/2 cup of heavy cream here until it just started to simmer. We don't want it too hot because we don't want the chocolate to seize. So we're just gonna pour the heavy cream over the chocolate. And we're gonna let this set for a minute before we stir it with our rubber spatula. Okay, so it's been a minute. Now we're just gonna stir this until it's nice and smooth. All right, chocolate ganache. Ooh, that smells so good. All right, so I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and let it cool down until it's like piping consistency, which right now, if we wanted like a running ganache, it would be fine, but since we're putting it in the middle of our macarons, we need it to be kind of stiff. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it chill down, and then we're gonna fill our macarons. All right. Last piece of this video. I swear, we're almost done. Thanks for sticking with me through this. It's been quite a process. So these are the macarons. I'm pretty excited. This is my first time making them, but you know, look at the feet, which is exciting, and the top is nice and smooth, and we didn't really have any stickage on the bottom, so that's good. I'll call it a success for my first try. And then this is the chocolate ganache, so it's pretty good, solid consistency. We're just gonna pipe this into the macarons. So I have a sandwich bag here, and I'm gonna put it, and you know, this ganache probably could have set up just a tad bit more, but I'm not too worried about it. Because after we finish filling them, we're gonna put them in the fridge and let them set up a little bit more, which is exciting. We have our ganache. Okay, so we're going to cut the tip off of that. All right, I'm going to pick this one. So we're just going to fill it up with the ganache. And we're going to sandwich it. Ta-da! A nice macaron. Look at that. Look at that! Look at how perfect that looks. Oh, I'm very fortunate. I know some people have trouble with macarons, so I'm really glad that this worked out for me. Thank you Jesus. I'm gonna finish these up, but thank you all so much for tuning in and watching this episode, this video, whatever you want to call it. I appreciate all of your love and support so much, and I hope you'll have a wonderful evening. Until next time.